Well, I grew up in New York City, in Manhattan, a neighborhood called Chelsea. It's right above Greenwich Village. In high school, I had a different community of brothers, the Irish Christian Brothers, at All Hallows up in the Bronx, another part of New York City. And then we had to move to Brooklyn, which was a whole new world. I graduated from high school and I went to work, and I went to night school at St. John's University. And it was there that I met the Xaverian Brothers. And after a couple of years, they seemed happy, and I did want to teach, and I decided to give it a try. And so here I am. My first mission, as we called it, was St. X. I came here in 1968. I always had freshmen and sophomores. The delight to me was that the longer I was here, all my kids, boys, whatever, became the juniors and the seniors. And I got to feel like I was in a big family that I knew. From here, I moved into parish ministry. I was at a Lady of Lourdes in St. Matthew's, and then Holy Trinity Parish for a few years. I directed faith formation, religious education. I created programs, what they call the RCIA now, outreach to adults who want to become Catholic or thinking about it. I created programs for people who were angry at the church. I call it the open door, just to come and listen and hear each other out, and if I could help them on their spiritual journey. And then after a few years, I went to Jacksonville, Florida, to a town called Orange Park. And I was able to help the community there with a lot of lay men and women and the priest to create a formation center for faith development. And it was a whole range of ages, from little people, preschool, up to adults. And at the end of that period, I was there like 12 years. And I was given a sabbatical, time to refresh, renew my understanding, my theologies, and so forth. I had that sabbatical, at the end of which I took a clinical pastoral education program at what was called University Medical Center in Florida. And it was like a whole switch of rail tracks that I was on, from the school to the communities, now into healthcare. And for the last 20 years or so, I served educating and being a chaplain in Catholic healthcare. As you grow, and you guys will go through this, I would think, and I'm sure you're all excited to possibly go into college and university and so forth, maybe joining a frat, maybe not joining. But when you leave here, and when I left here, it was like leaving a nest that helped to form me, and suddenly I was in a new world. And I looked around and I said, oh my God, who am I going to trust? Who am I going to talk with? Who's going to encourage me? So those were hard transitions. And we used to have a poster, I didn't understand what it meant at the time. It said, bloom where you are planted. And I found after a few months, sort of like a seed going into new soil, I started to grow connections and roots, so that the transition was the hard part. Once I take it one day at a time, by the time I left, they would be laughing and crying with me, and I'd be laughing and crying. So together we had done something good. And then God, I felt, kept calling me to something new, to learn more about myself, learn more about people and how I could assist them. So my main hope is that God keeps sending us young men like yourselves who are willing to seek a good education, but also have a faith base, a sense of meaning and purpose for your lives. That's critical. I know a lot of people might look at a place like X as, oh, my kid's going to get into Harvard and Yale and all that. Well, there's a phrase that haunts me, and Francis Xavier was haunted by this. St. Ignatius used to purportedly said it to him. He said, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul, his sense of meaning, purpose in life? So that's my hope, that you will get quality education here, but you'll get a good community experience with each other. Always be open to learning. I'm in my 70s. I'm still learning. And my hope and dream for you is, don't say, well, I learned that 50 years ago. bananas. I would use something. But keep learning, please, and keep God in your life. Even if you don't feel Him or see Him, God loves you. And if you can grab that and take that with you, right on. And that's my hope for all of our schools. And just keep a sense of humor about yourselves. I just heard my New York accent come out. Yous. But that means you all, yous guys. That you'd keep open to other cultures and other peoples. You've got to. Our world is changing so much. And you can say, oh, I want it the old way. Well, the old way was once the new way. And you're in a newer way of life. And you'll have more experiences. And I hope that helps you live your life and be happy.